This is day 423 of Zohar Pshat, and we are on page 49b, Memtes or Bays, and we are in the third line. We're talking about Yaakov Avinu at Beit El and what we can learn from that about marriage. We took from the stones of the place. The Yetzer Marshal Sav, he put around his head, or under his head. Hacho Lifna, here we learned. Even if a king has beds made out of gold, uvushe yakar, and precious spreads, precious clothing, precious garments, lumevas buhu, to sleep in them, umachonisa, and his queen, his wife, titakin le arsa, and she's going to make for him a bed, mitaknon ba'avnin, made with stones, yishbok tilei, he should leave his own, v'yabes amadi titkin, and sleep in that which he fixed. See by Shkab Makomahu, as it says by Yaakov Avinu that he slept in that place. And I don't know where Yaakov Avinu had an alternative sleep, but the marshal here is that Yaakov chose to sleep in Beit El, which is the place of Kodesh Baruch Hu, even had to sleep in a bed of stones, rather than find some other fancy hotel to sleep in. And evidently this is because of Kodesh Baruch Hu's place, and so too, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu provides, if the wife provides the husband with a place to sleep, even if it is bare bones and no frills, to choose that place instead. And I assume there's a nimshal here to Kodesh Baruch Hu providing, the pasim meltocha mayim sortish tavaras tishon v'chayatzar tichya. Still, you should choose that if it's in the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and connecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as opposed to luxuries in excess which come from other places. Tachazeh, come see. Maxi v'halcha. What does it say here? By prayer, Parshas Beis again. V'yomer Adam azos hapam b'gomer. Right? He said such extraordinary words of praise and affection when he met Chava. Habesimu demilin. These are the most pleasant words. Namshacha ima chaviusa. Draw with them affection. Ulam shacha la lirusei, and to draw out the ratzon of his wife, of Chava, lisara imara chubut umusa, to arouse with her this love and this affection. So this idea again is to talk about marriage in general. A person's supposed to make sure to express words of affection to his wife. Besides, also it's probably a marshal to relationship with Baruch Hu, and a person should express himself affectionately towards Kodesh Baruch Hu. Chamei kam simin imu milin. See how fragrant these words are that Adam used. Kama mirechemusainun. How much the words of affection. Etzem yatzami, essence or bone of my bone. Basar, and flesh, me, sorry, from my flesh. Bilachzah law, to demonstrate to her di'inun chad, that she and Chava and Adam are one. There's no separation between them. Bekula on anything. And this is how he began to praise her. This is called an Isha. The Dahi, the Loishtaka, is a woman to whom nobody else can be likened. Dahi the Besa, she's the most precious one in the house. The Kud Nashin Gabak Kovne Nasha, all women relative to her are like monkeys in front of human beings. That's a reference to Chazal saying that the beauty of each generation later, even though it was a phenomenal beauty, like Sora's beauty towards Chava, was Kovne Adam, because relative to Chava's extraordinary beauty being created by Kodesh Baruch Hu, there was no comparison between the two. So, but rather to this you will call a woman, and it's actually as Zohar brings down, Rabbi Menag went to look at the Kavaras and the Maras Machpelah and assessed each one. He wasn't allowed to look at the Machaba, but testifies as to their extraordinary attributes. This woman is called the perfected woman, this one and no other. And all these are words of affection. It says, this too was meant to be words of affection, that there are many women who do wonderful things, but you great feats, but you are greater than all of them. And again, it's supposed to be the way a husband speaks to a wife, but also it's supposed to be the relationship of a person to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. But in all these cases, interesting because it seems like Hakadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol is the wife. Normally, we don't think about Hakadosh Baruch Hu as the feminine, but as the masculine. But evidently here, when they're coming to connect to the Shekhinah, I assume we're talking about the Shekhinah, because the Shekhinah is the aspect of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, which is feminine, Shekhinah, and therefore there's this relationship in which there is this connection which is made by the man coming towards the woman, so to speak, by the human being coming towards the Shekhinah, connecting to it. I think that's why there's a mashal here. But it goes on, it says, Al Kenya, so if Isha Soviv Esimo, a person leaves his father and mother, the stone clings to his wife, to be one flesh. Kula lam shacha la. All these is to draw her. Berchima with love. Lis da baka bada. To connect with her. Came lis ar gaba kol milain elaine. But once all these things happen, all these beautiful things, and here we're going back to the woman herself in Agarein, Maxi would say Nachash hayarum. The Nachash was treacherous, and the Derech says interesting thing here. Even though you go through all the things we said, your tashmish, your intimacy with your wife is completely shem shamayim. Nevertheless, Yetzer. Here it says word machat. I think. I'm not sure exactly what it means. A needle here, but the Yetzer is present. Oshi avin. Gufo. And it was in some which the Zohar doesn't say here, it says elsewhere that even Chassid Sheva, I think it's actually a medrash. Chassid Sheva Chassidim Lanos Atzum Mechaven. There's always a sense of pleasure and pleasure of this world, even when doing it in Shem Shamayim. And so with Tashmi Shamita, with being intimate with one's spouse, there's this the idea of the pleasures of this world, and therefore the Nachash has the capacity to seize onto this. Hora, the Yetzer is aroused, to connect to this. Begin the kashola, but to try and connect this ma'isa, which you're trying to do the shem shamayim, to the type of the body, to make it physical. To then arouse other things that Yetzer gets pleasure from. Because there's always a danger in doing things with shem shamayim. Even doing them shem shamayim, since they're physical and since they're sensual, so therefore there's also a danger of the Yetzer. Al basar maksiv. So what does it say afterwards? It will come. There's again this tomorrow, but that's where the Nachash sprang on this situation where Adam was doing all the right stuff, and Chav was doing all the right stuff, and still it was a Pesach, because you can never be secure when you're doing something physical and sensual that's not going to lead to something else, which is going to be the actual pure Yetzer Hora coming to try and entice you and do something wrong as a result.